Greetings and welcome to our video on the trending topic of Tesla's possible stock buyback scheme. We are aware of how the tale ends. Elon sold a large portion of his Tesla stock last year to finance Twitter, and we investors are curious as to whether the board will act on Elon's suggestions for a buyback. This would be an ideal time to profit from a Tesla, since a stock buyback would almost certainly result in an increase in the stock price of several orders of magnitude. Click the like button and subscribe to our channel to share your thoughts on how much, if any, a Tesla stock buyback would help the company's stock rise above its current valuation. Join us as we join investors and analysts who are eagerly anticipating news on whether the company will follow through on this idea before we go there. The primary EV stock has experienced notable fluctuations for some time. The company recently released what many view as poor Q4 results. A stock buyback program for Tesla has gained traction among investors in recent months, particularly after Elon Musk hinted at the possibility of one during the company's third-quarter earnings call. Elon Musk and Tesla executives were under intense pressure from investors and analysts to address the company's stock fluctuations, and they stated that even if 2023 proves to be a difficult year for the company can still undertake a $10 billion buyback. The idea has been discussed extensively at the board level, and while most board members agree that a buyback makes sense, we want to work. Musk stated, "Remember that this is still pending. It's likely that we'll conduct some major buyback." Musk is the CEO of Tesla. Board approval and review. Over the past few months, a number of Testables experts have discussed the potential advantages of a stock buyback for the company. Elon Musk has stated that while the market is focusing on the short term, it's crucial to focus on the long term. As investors, knowing when a stock buyback will occur can be helpful for a number of reasons. The first is that you can time the market. Buybacks may be a sign of a company's perception of the present market circumstances. A company's announcement of a repurchase can indicate that they think their stock is cheap and that they are optimistic about their future. On the other hand, if a business slows or eliminates buybacks, it may be an indication that they think the market is bubble-like and that their stock is overpriced. When Elon began selling his personal Tesla shares in the middle of 2022, this is precisely why the stock price of Tesla declined. Number 2. The effect that it has on stock price. Buybacks may have a favorable or negative effect on the company's stock price. A company's stock price may rise if it buys back a sizable portion of its own shares, which may lower the number of shares on the market and raise earnings per share. This would be advantageous because, following Elon Musk's announcement that the company could produce 2 million cars this year, Tesla's earnings per share made a strong showing in the fourth quarter. The electric vehicle manufacturer exceeded expectations in both earnings and revenue, and following hours trading on the day of the announcement, the results showed adjusted earnings of $1.19 per share, surpassing the expected $1.13 per share, according to Refinitiv. Furthermore, compared to the same quarter last year, revenue for the quarter was $24.32 billion greater than Refinitiv's projected $24.16 billion. Tesla's earnings were adjusted to reflect an August of 2.52 cents per share, or $17.72 billion in revenue. 2022 stock division. The company is already putting up some strong earnings per share numbers, and a buyback would make it even better. Overall, understanding the timing and impact of a stock buyback on Tesla stock will provide us valuable insights into a company's financial health and potential future performance, and can help us inform our invested decisions. YouTuber Dave Lee has stated that a buyback of Tesla shares is feasible. The company reported automotive revenue of $21.3 billion in Q4, indicating a whopping 33% year-over-year growth. For much of the previous year, traditional automakers like General Motors and Ford Motors found themselves in stark contrast to Tesla due to the global chip shortage. GM and Ford were forced to shut down numerous factories, some for several months, which resulted in depleted dealer stocks and soaring vehicle prices. However, Tesla achieved record sales every quarter, selling nearly twice as many vehicles as the previous year without being hindered by the industry-wide crisis. As Lee described, Tesla could produce 10 million vehicles annually with an operational profit of $15,000 per vehicle. Tesla's capacity to obtain necessary parts has broader ramifications, to the surprise of most industry executives and policymakers. The company's annual operating profit of $150 billion and a 30x multiple from investors suggests that it, along with other emerging electric vehicle firms, could pose a more immediate and potent threat to the dominance of industry behemoths like Volkswagen and General Motors. According to Dave Lee, the company's total value will be $4.5 trillion, and the majority of that money would be well spent investing in Tesla stock. Leah Kogan, the third-largest investor, has been pushing for a share buyback from Tesla for a number of months. According to his creators, the petition was well received by late November, having gathered about 5,300 signatures. The goal was to have the buyback completed by the end of 2022, following what may have been the worst year ever for Tesla, with shares plummeting as a result of Elon Musk's acquisition of Twitter and the EV company facing 19 recalls. Musk has previously mentioned buying Tesla stock to boost investor confidence in the electric vehicle manufacturer. But if that were to occur, investors wouldn't be able to witness it until early the following year. Leo Kogan tweeted that this was the ideal time for a buyback and the right thing to do because, in a buyback, prices typically rise when supply declines. Alexandra Mers, one of the many investors who thinks that buying stock would show support for Tesla's future performance and return money to shareholders, recently started a petition on Change.org calling for a quick buyback before the end of 2023. I'm a huge supporter of Tesla and a former stockholder, but in order to preserve my capital, I've been forced to go to the dark side, stated one of the 5,000 petitioners. He also mentioned that he recently started shoring the company, which has already recovered half of his original losses. He stated, "I think Tesla will do well in the long run, but before I go along again, the board needs to do something like a buyback." Along with Dan Ives, a Bush analyst, thinks that Elon Musk and Tesla, according to a letter released last month, Tesla may experience increased pressure from activist investors in 2023 despite the company's significant growth in 2022. The company's stock price crashed by 50%, making it a good target for activists. Since the company's market value for 2022 increased by $560 billion over the previous year, some activists were understandably unhappy, despite the fact that the stock has recovered recently, nearly doubling from its early January lows. Elon Musk's dual focus on managing multiple high-profile companies, including SpaceX, Tesla, and most recently Twitter, is another factor contributing to the anticipated activist pressure on Tesla. I propose that activist investors could urge Tesla to launch a stock buyback program, increase profit margins, or pursue other goals tactical actions. Additionally, we think that activism will begin to spread throughout the larger tech industry as companies like Tesla and Salesforce, to mention just two, will be under increasing pressure to improve their margins. Buybacks and calculated actions. As I mentioned earlier, there is a lot of pressure on Tesla to carry out the buyback, so it would be prudent for us to assume that one is at least imminent. This would be extremely beneficial for Tesla bulls like us who are optimistic about the long-term prospects of this incredible company. If you liked this video, please hit the like button, subscribe, and watch more of our content. I'll see you in the next video.